You can take it
Wonderful.
away.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We are just beyond excited to share with you a really curated Australia experience from three premier specialists. And we'll go a little bit more into what being a premier specialist is, but we're really honing in on authentic Australia, bringing something that's completely different and off the table, something that you would not find going through, trying to search online. This is really the three of us, myself, Julie, and Colette, collaborating on something that is really near and dear to our heart with Australia, but bringing some of our favorite pieces of Australia to you in some of our favorite regions. So, as a Premier Aussie specialist, Julie, Colette, and myself are recognized by the Tourism Board of Australia to have collaborated to really bring basically our knowledge is that we are some of the top specialists around Canada and the US. There is only a hand selected amount of individuals that are premier specialists. That means we know this product inside and out, and we can't wait to bring it to you guys. So, with that, we are going to go ahead and get started tonight, going through our day by day of all of those things as well. But Julie, would you like to share that testimonial as we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is sort of the second itinerary that we've put together. Colette and I hosted a tour last November, and this was from one of our guests on our trip. We had 16 people, and it was so nice. We told them all about it, but when they actually were there and they got to meet the tour company, the owner operators, like you will meet, they loved it. And I love that they said they couldn't choose which place was their favorite because everything was all amazing and so different. So that's just a little bit about us coming from somebody else. So we'll jump right into the itinerary. So we decided we're going to start the tour in Melbourne. Melbourne's an amazing city, land of like incredible coffee shops and cafes and just really unique independent restaurants and shops. And so once we arrive into Australia, we're going to go through customs ahead of time. You'll have your visa done. So it's actually pretty easy breezy. And we're going to transfer to our hotel. We decided on, we chose the Sofitel Melbourne for you. It's in an awesome location, close to everything, very, very walkable. You'll see like Federation Square, lots happens there, a lot of tours start there. And so it's we just hand selected this hotel because we thought we love the layout of the rooms, we love the vibe of the hotel and the location. Also, throughout our itinerary, all the breakfasts are included every day. So it's just a great start to the day. We have a full tummy and the energy to do the touring. So what we're going to do that afternoon, so we arrive early, and the best thing to do is try to stay awake as long as possible. So what better way than to do a walking tour? So this is the company that we're with. They're one of the original walking tours in Melbourne. So have a look. This is a little bit what it's all about.
We've got a secret to tell you. You can be more than just a tourist. We want you to meet Melbourne. You've heard about the laneways, the stairways, the wrong way, the right way, the rooftops, the cool shops, the coffee spots and tram stops, the locals, the shopping, the history and art. Did we mention the food? Oh, where to start? The arcades, the accolades, the chocolate and wine. The way you can feel that you've stepped back in time. You can just have a look and tick boxes from your list. But we assure you, there are things you will have missed. Melbourne is more than a snap, a post or a tweet. Melbourne's a city we want you to meet. So come and meet the food, meet the coffee, meet the art. Hidden Secrets Tours, the best place to start.
Yeah, and it's named perfectly because there are so many of those laneways that you would miss on your own if you were to do it. So great way, great introduction to the city. And then the following day, we're going to do an excursion out to the on the Great Ocean Road. So this is where you've probably seen pictures of these 12 apostles, even though there's only 8. We're going to do a full day small group tour out there with some stops along the way. Very, very scenic, and just a beautiful area to get out of busy Melbourne and get to do some sightseeing. Here's a little, a couple pictures of what the day is like, kind of the scenery and drive along there. And then that evening will be free when we get back to the hotel. And then the next day we're going to do a half day. So we're going to have a leisurely morning, and then we're going to do another trip out of Melbourne. And this time it's to Phillip Island. So this is where those little cutie little penguins are. And so along the way, we're going to stop at a wildlife sanctuary and see some of the other birds and animals. And then the penguins, they come out at dusk. So as soon as the sun starts setting, you'll see them coming up in the waves there. We'll be on a small group viewing platform really close to, as close as you can get to where the penguins come out. And it's just incredibly clean. But yeah, have a look.
Holding close, holding tight, let the moon slowly take over on the night. The sky.
Yeah, it's simply adorable. Honestly, you see them waddling on the beach. It's like you can't even it's just super cute. So then that concludes our time in Melbourne. And I will pass it over to you, Amanda, to continue on with Port Lincoln.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. If you guys have not, the penguins are adorable, and I'm telling you, they come out by the hundreds. It is just the most epic scenery. But one of the things that we are really here to highlight it is some curated experiences, which is off the beaten path and something that is special to us, not just going to those iconic cities, but getting out and about into the outback, the wild side of Australia. And therefore we're heading out to South Australia in beautiful Port Lincoln. And we brought along a special guest tonight. We have David here, also known as Lunch. And he is going to chat with us a little bit more about this area. It is his background, his backyard, I should say. Here's a quick video before we let him in, and we'll start chatting.
What I love about the people of Australia, well, particularly around here, they're very laid back. They're casual, friendly, fantastic sense of humour. As a child, we all had this sense of adventure. How are you, mate? Coffin Bay oysters, the best in the world, and you will not find any fresher than this right here. Not much point looking at them. We're going to eat them. Come on, get that one down your lungs. Spot on. I just can't think there's anything better in the world than doing what we've done or how we've lived all our lives. It is a completely different world, but it's one that I'm certainly happy with, and I wouldn't swap it for quids.
Well, we are so excited. I had the beautiful opportunity here just a few months ago to spend some time here, and the beginning of this video was absolutely how it is shown. It is breathtaking, beautiful. I just fell in love with this area, and we couldn't not bring this itinerary to you. So with that, I am going to introduce Lunch here. Good day. How are you?
Hey guys, how we going? Thanks for inviting me onto this very special presentation, and I'll give you the big tip. It's a real honour to be a part of this unbelievable itinerary. I've had a good look at it over the last 24 hours and so, and yeah, it's looks spectacular. So thanking you very much, ladies.
Awesome. Well, Lunch, so we're heading to a very unique part of the world. We call it the wild side of the Eyre Peninsula, a place that's been your playground literally all of your life. Tell us why, or, everybody that's tuning in, why is this so unique and authentic? A different side of Australia that people really wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, well, that's actually not a bad way to put it. I mean, it's this Eyre Peninsula region that's smallish in South Australia,
but it's also 2.5 times the size of Tasmania, but a lot less people. It's raw, it's rugged, it's natural, it's spectacularly beautiful. And as I describe it, nothing really has changed on this coastline since the explorers discovered this back in 1802. It's untouched, unspoiled, uncrowded. It's an undiscovered gem of Australia and a real jewel in the crown of South Australian tourism. So that's a bit of a highlight, being undiscovered, because that means that there's not many people here. You get the place to yourself. You're going to see this place just like a local would, meaning that we are local guides, born and bred locally here. So you're going to get to see the real secrets of the region instead of people who are following a map and going to those iconic spots, I suppose. We're going to get to see the real the jewels and into the bowels. We've got these incredible diverse landscapes, which, as I mentioned before, it's an incredible coastline highlighted by massive cliffs, but also endless footprint-free beaches, which you're going to have to yourself, which you also saw on your time here as well, Amanda. There's open fields laden with canola, wheat, barley, and legume crops. There's dense pockets of bushland, or scrub as we call it, trees, mountain ranges, and just 2 hours away to the north is the gateway to the outback. We're surrounded by the Southern Ocean, and our next body of land to the south is the Antarctic. To the west is South Africa. So, and included on that coastline too is the largest marine park, which is the Great Australian Bight in the world. There's an incredible amount of immersive wildlife encounters, whether that's in the ocean, and I'm talking about sea lions or Australian sea lions, the great white sharks, southern right whales. In the air, where we have 270 native species of birds. And then on the land, we have just an abundance of kangaroos, emus, lizards, wombats, koalas, and it really is nature's playground. And in fact, as I say at presentations, if there's somewhere where you're going to get a better immersive experience with our wildlife in the country, somebody take me there, because the koalas between, well, me and the screen, so a metre away, low level, in an abundance. We'll see 50 to 60 different ones each time we visit this beautiful, pristine and natural habitat, which is only 20 minutes out of Port Lincoln. So
one question for you too, a couple of them. You know, we're looking at the marine life here, we're seeing some of the wildlife and the seafood experiences. What makes it so different than any other place in Australia? I think that's what, you know, why come here? Why are we bringing people here as well? That's an exciting part to, I think, share with them that makes it so unique.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question as well, Amanda. I mean, we're the seafood capital of Australia, so we're bringing all these little aspects in together, whether it's wildlife, whether it's coastline, so your scenic beauty, your ruggedness. You're going to meet some incredible characters here as well, and this all adds to the theatre, I guess, of the tour. You're going to be experiencing, again, all this wildlife stuff, but you're tasting the product as well. This is the raw product, or the won't all be raw, but that we have here. It's the largest fishing fleet in the southern hemisphere. Our waters are clean and pristine, with 2 tides daily, which assist in flushing out our bays, which adds to that element of being able to have this bounty of seafood at our beck and call.
So I was just going to go through a couple of highlights too with everyone too, because we've went through some of the slides, but one of the unique things we're going to have here, guys, is going to be a seafood, literally curated experience with a chef to get the freshest oysters, seafood that you are going to have. We are going to be seeing, again, Lincoln National Park, going through some of the untouched areas, getting face to face, as you could see, as close as possible. When we have that picture of the koala down below, it is right there. I can't tell you, it is my closest experience I've ever had out in nature with koalas, and it is so fun to go spotting koalas. So I absolutely love that. Not to mention, you are just welcome home here. I feel just like everybody here is just so welcoming as well. So I think one last question before we move on to our next part of our itinerary to lunch. And we so appreciate having you on too. For our guests tuned into this Zoom who are intrigued by Australia and really considering this trip, why take the plunge? Why tick this off their list now as opposed to waiting? What are some highlights or anything that you have as a fun tip of why, come to Australia in April with us on the small group tour?
Well, that's a really good question too. I mean, this is a genuine off the beaten track, bespoke Australian experience like no other. And I doubt if you're going to find all of this in a small proximity. So I'm talking about half an hour of leaving Port Lincoln, anywhere else in the country or the world for that matter. The fresh air, the sounds of nature, having the place to yourself, experiencing this with local guides in luxury four-wheel drive. So this is there is abundance of different things which we can do here, and you've highlighted this in your slides. But why now? Why come out in April? Well, why not? You can come out here and experience a magic part of Australia and have a lifetime of memories to brag about to your friends, or you can just stay home, get old, and wonder why you didn't do this when you had the chance.
Exactly. There we go. Well, Lunch, thank you so much. We're going to have some Q&A at the end for anybody that has questions for him as well, but we're going to continue on to that itinerary down the way too. Colette, we are onward. As we mentioned, we're arriving in Adelaide then once we depart Port Lincoln, arriving, and we're going to be staying at a very iconic place, the Oval Hotel, which is home to some of the best games, footy games, which again, if there's some operating during that time, I am just so excited to be here. It's a great location, great markets. And the next day we're going to head on a very private experience. We are calling this our small batch winery tour, truly all about the Barossa Valley wine experience as well. And we'll give you a little snippet right here.
Small batch wine tours is different from your average wine tour. During your time with us, it's our prerogative to further your wine knowledge, no matter your level of expertise. We can teach you about biodynamics and wine sustainability and what that means to you as a consumer. We can talk about different soil types and stylistic approach to winemaking and how they affect the wine in a glass. A great example would be tasting wines aged in large format oak versus a ceramic egg. By getting out into the vineyard with the winemakers, you'll get a greater understanding of what goes on beneath the cork. Our intimate group size means we can visit boutique wineries others can't visit, having you taste and enjoy the best wines in any region. Even our restaurant partners are some of the best in the region, sourcing much of their produce locally and focusing on seasonality. With small batch wine tours, you can expect the exceptional.
And I do just have to add here, guys, Julie, myself, Colette, we personally know all of these individuals that we are partnering with firsthand, that we can call them up and say, hey, this is what we're looking to create. Matt is wonderful in his knowledge of wine as well. So like I said, we couldn't be more excited about this. Now we're departing Adelaide. We're going on to the Great Barrier Reef. So Colette, I'm going to have you take it away.
Thanks, Amanda. So we're going to continue on to Cairns. So when we say it, it's not Cairns, it's cans, like a can of beer or, can of tuna. So once you get that, because if you do say Cairns, they'll know you're from out of town. Anyhow, after we board the flight to Adelaide to Cairns, we'll be taking a 45-minute to an hour drive up the coast to Port Douglas. This is where you're going to be stationary for a few days to take in the Great Barrier Reef and some more. The accommodations are going to be at the Peppers Beach Club, which is right in town, right off the main road, a block and a half from the lovely beach. But what we're going to do is the focus here is getting out on the reef. So the following day, this is a full day, and it is a day that you'll never forget. You're going to go out on the Barrier Reef. You're going to have a snorkeling experience. This is with a small group tour. So there's not 100 passengers on this ship, on this vessel, I should say. So this is where you'll have a chance. And if you're not even a snorkeler like me, the idea of going out there and getting in the water to say, I was in the water looking at the barrier reef. That's all you need to do. But if you are a diver, snorkeler, they have floating devices, like for people like me that are not a great swimmer. So, but you got to do this. The wetsuits are available too. In the event there's some cooler temperatures, or no, I don't think there's any flotations in there anyway. So you'll be fine. Great way to see the coral reefs in the color, the amazing. Sorry, I just had to cough, sneeze. This is a picture video of what you're going to see. My apologies.
It's so beautiful. And of course, such a big part of going to Australia is interacting with that reef. And then the following day, this is on our last trip, we did about 23 days around Australia. And this was one of the favorite tours of our guests from our feedback. It's called a Walkabout Cultural Adventures. We get to go out with a local Aboriginal guide for the day. And you can see a few pictures here. We go mud crabbing. We get to practice throwing a spear. We get to, be driving along. He'll stop on the side of the road and grab some berries. And like, you got to try this. You got to lick the bum of a green ant because it tastes like lemon lime. But he'll take you. He takes us out right into the rainforest. Talks about his ancestors and the past and all their cultural significance of the different trees and vegetation in the area. But yeah, have a look. Is a little bit about what it's like.
Welcome to Yalanji country. Marja Jalan, forest in the sea.
Yeah, it's an incredible day. You'll also never forget it and really feel like you're interacting with the land and getting just some depth to the country for sure. From Port Douglas, we're going to go back to Cairns. It's about an hour drive, a beautiful scenic drive, and then fly down to Sydney, where we are going to check into the Radisson Blu Hotel. So of course, this is where we're going to see the iconic Sydney Opera House, the bridge, and the Sydney Harbour. It's like nothing else. A great way to end our tour. So this just gives you a little idea of where the main spots are. Sydney's big, Sydney downtown. So you can see there on the right is the circle. That's where the Opera House is. Just below it is Circular Quay. That's where all the ferries depart from, and sort of downtown area. And then up on the top is the Harbour Bridge. So incredible views, just postcard perfect there. So it's a great location that we chose for the Radisson Blu there, which you can access everything. Again, this was another favorite tour is we go out with a company called Dave's and we do a historic walking tour of when the first settlers, like the convicts, came into Australia, into Sydney Harbor there, and how they built, where they lived. And they do such a good job of giving stories of the inmates and the convicts there and how they lived, what it was like. And they have just really get you involved. It's a lot of fun. And then we also visit like Sydney's oldest pub and stop for a few drinks along the way. So have a look. This is super fun.
Oops.
My name's Greg. I run Dave's Pub Walks. We do historic pub tours throughout the Rocks, Balmain and the city.
The hero of Waterloo is the Duke of Wellington. He defeated Napoleon's armies at the Battle of Waterloo.
And you feel a cold chill on your neck, that is the ghost of Vancouver.
On a Dave's Pub Walk, you get to find out a lot about the early history of Sydney. It goes back from 1788, from the start of the first colony, all the way through to modern day.
These little laneways and pretty much the Rocks in general used to be ruled by street gangs.
Sticking to the main themes of blood, sex and gore, and a few bad jokes in between.
They have the oldest drinking establishment in Sydney. They make their own beer.
A lot of the history of the area revolves around the pubs of the area. The pubs are the hub of the community. So when you come on a pub walk with Dave's Pub Walks, you're going to get a lot of Sydney's rich history. You'll get to meet other people who are interested in sort of similar sort of aspects of our city. A couple of beers and a few stories, and you've got fast friends at the end.
Yeah, again, super fun, storyful tour. The following day, we're going to do a tour of the Opera House. So, of course, you've seen them from the outside, but to go in the auditoriums, it's magnificent. It's just, all the detail and the grandeur inside is spectacular. I think I could do this tour like multiple times, but we're going to do a special 1-hour guided tour in the Opera House, and then finish off with some drinks and snacks outside the Opera House there. That's one of the famous chefs who has a restaurant at the Opera House there. And then the last day, we've left it open. There's so much to do in Sydney. So we wanted to give you some free time to choose what you want to do. If you want to climb that Opera House, highly recommend it. You can do that. You can take a day trip out to the Blue Mountains, where those are the three sisters there. They're covered in eucalyptus, and it kind of gives off a bluish hue. That's a full day tour, just right outside of Sydney, or getting into the countryside, the outback there. There's also several things. You can go to the Taronga Zoo. You can rent bikes. You can just walk around. You can take a cruise on the harbor. There's enough to do, definitely, to keep you busy. So we thought we'd finish our day with you can personalize it to your own preferences there. And then I will pass it over to Amanda to go through some of the details of pricing and etc. So over to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So we've got a jam-packed, exciting, but busy schedule, but at the same time, something that is, again, we want to give you time to exhale, relax, enjoy some brews, whatever that might be along the way too. So along that, we just wanted to give you some pricing of what we're looking at too for everything. Now, everything that we are showing here is in Australian dollar. That is an advantage to those that are in Canada, the US, because currently the US dollar is very strong. I kind of say that it's almost like Australia is on sale, really. So it allows us to have a really good value to the Australian dollar too. And it's an advantage to you too. So when we look at this per person, we do have a total of 13,760. If we're looking at that in US, it's about 8,000 or so per person. And then again, we will be having additional air that will go with that as well once we have our confirmed number of people booked. We do have a non-refundable deposit that we are requesting as to put your to make sure we hold your slot as well. We are basing this on a minimum of 12 travelers at this point as well. And we do have a little incentive for you guys at the end. For those of you that are thinking, yes, I really want to do this, it's in for me. We have a little special discount for you guys today as well for tuning in. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. And then, of course, we're here to help if you guys want any assistance with flights to and from internationally too, from flights to Canada, back and forth, or US. Again, if you want to extend to, we are offering extensions to Ayers Rock for an additional 3-day tour, or even over to Tassie for an additional 5 days too. And we'll share just a quick little snippet about those additional tours for those that are like, hey, I am ready to be in Australia still. I do not want to go home. I'm ready to continue our journey. And so we do have an optional, if you've heard about Uluru, the Ayers Rock is really that magnificent rock that has so much history. When we talk about Aboriginal history, all of those pieces that get you really immersed in the culture from sunset to sundown. There is nothing like seeing this, even riding a camel at sunset, drinking a glass of wine, and just seeing how beautiful this valley turns into a whole different just canvas. And then also having a chance to look through, and I love this piece. If you stay here, Colette, on this piece, right here is a sunset dinner where you have the installation lights. It feels like you can literally reach up and touch the stars right in nature. It's absolutely spectacular. Wandering there throughout too is just, it's breathtaking. It's one of those pieces that you're just like, wow, it kind of takes your breath away in terms of that. Not only do you see Ayers Rock from the evening, but then you can do a sunrise tour as well. So we have a lot lined up for an extension for you too. And then we are doing a private tour to Katajuta National Park. A lot of unique things here. Again, I'm talking about Aboriginal art, really understanding the history and the value and the spiritual realms behind all of this area too, that will just have a much more significant impact on why you are here, the footprint you're leaving, what that means to the people there as well, and honoring and respecting that area as well. So that is Uluru. And then when we're doing the afternoon tour, we'll be going through the national park, seeing the rocks, the ancient ruins, and then we are going onward to that to enjoy, basically to take an exhale and then transfer back to go back home as well. If you opt to do the extension here, a beautiful, for anybody that is into hiking, exploring, enjoying that area, you will love, love, love this area for that. And then the other one that we wanted to share with you as an extension is Tasmania. Tasmania, if you guys, I will say here, out in nature, come up for air is their slogan. Some of the freshest air in the world here. Absolutely fantastic. Again, some of the best walks in Australia are here. And you will notice that from going to the beautiful markets to then getting out of the city and seeing some of those breathtaking areas as well. So we're going to do a full day at Port Arthur and the Tasman tour. Oh my gosh. Again, you heard Julie talk about the convicts and understanding that history and what that meant to Australia. You are going to live it here in seeing where the convicts lived, what that looked like for them behind the scenes, get a library history of everything that's going on here as well. Absolutely love this area. And then the tour, again, you're going to see some of the most spectacular views on the East Coast to Freycinet Island, all of the beautiful areas. Again, we're giving you snippets here, guys, but it is a beautiful extension to consider here if you're thinking, I've always wanted to go to Tasmania. What does that look like? we are curating something really beautiful and then giving you some time to relax too. It's not all go, go, go all the time as well. So, and then we'll get you back to, onward back home as well. Again, including those accommodations, breakfast, and all the details too. If you have questions about extending past the group tour, let us know. We definitely would love to help answer any of those questions there as well.
So Amanda, I'm back. Sorry, I had to take 5 there. But this slide basically shows, that all your accommodations, all the tours, the transfers are all included in the itinerary. If you are booking, we will be sending a day-to-day itinerary that gives you a lot more information. This is just, again, a little snippet. So pretty much everything we've talked about is included. Excluded, of course, are your international flights, gratuities, any meals that aren't specified, beverages, travel insurance, which is very important. So you can speak to each of us about that. And if there's optional tours or extensions that you want to do. So that's something you can talk to each of us. Again, we can explore all different fares, economy, premium, business, whatever you need, we can help you with that if you'd like. These are just features of some of the services that are provided. You can get business and premium for comfort. And this kind of ends and concludes our presentation. But before we go to the questions, I'm just going to stop the recording so then we can move on to some Q&A.